Good morning. Welcome to this Boxing Day episode of Business Morning. How many boxes have you unwrapped so far? Perhaps it's too early. Send some my way as you're unwrapping yours. Well, welcome to 55 minutes of current and relevant business conversations. That's what we do here on Business Morning. I'm Ini John Mekwa, and you know it's all about Christmas. We cannot run away from that. We'll begin by telling you that Christmas celebrations were almost non-existent in some rural areas, and that's because of the economic situation. We'll take a report now. Our correspondent Kela Megwa went to Kodakpe village in Nasarawa State, where the yearly Christmas dance unfortunately did not hold. The village head and his subjects have attended some yearly Christmas service, but the very excitement of it has been lost. And they say it's because of the absence of basic amenities, which they say will help reduce the number of weekly deaths in the village. And so even in the midst of the Christmas celebration, we'll still have our reality facing us starkly in the face.
Christmas celebration in Kodape village, a Gbagi-dominated town in Altaba Alefi, Nasarawa State, usually has two main highlights: the dance, which holds in front of the King's Palace, and copious consumption of their local alcoholic brew called Brukutu. By the time we arrived, the church service was almost over at the Aqua Church in the village. But we were just in time to see the village head, Sabo Fiunu, the Esu Kodape, leaving the church alongside his subjects. Once His Highness is done changing into his ceremonial clothing, he takes his time to talk to us about the Christmas celebrations that will not be happening this year in the village, thanks to the poor economic situation in the country.
We are appealing to the government and President Bola Tinubu to help in reducing the cost of fuel. So many people were unable to travel to spend the Christmas with their loved ones because of the cost of fuel. The government should please help wipe away our tears.
He tells us that the community still needs a pedestrian bridge across the highway, as his subjects are constantly being knocked down by cars weekly from crossing the road.
It's a little sad how I feel right now, because Kodape used to be one of my favorite places to spend Christmas. This village, I have so many fun memories here, but unfortunately the economic situation and the fact that they are actually in mourning has stopped the celebrations that used to happen right here in front of this palace every single Christmas. But we're going to go into the village and talk to a few of the people who live here and find out how they have been faring, especially with all the economic problems.
Even though we did see a few villages in their Sunday best, the mood this Christmas in Kodape is a far cry from what it used to be. In any case, the women of the village are still making their local alcoholic brew called Brukutu. They, however, complain about the higher cost of production now.
Would they buy firewood before? 1,000 you go cook drink, but now you no go feel cook drink. 2,000 you no go feel cook. You no go feel cook for mudu of the burkoto. Now 2,000 you go cook, you go there normal. But before 1,000 go cook am. But my people where they there for village no be smart, they suffer, food no day.
The men aren't finding it any easier. They say the economic hardship is driving them to drink more.
And some of us that you have been seeing us here, our children in the house, they feel somehow. Economy is too much. We have been doing that. I think we will have job today. We can't be here. That's the truth.
There is no cash. People are not having money spending, and we are celebrating Christmas without having money. People are very dull everywhere. I don't understand. What is happening in this country.
The villagers were kind enough to offer me some brukutu. Sadly, I had to decline the offer, but I did get to share the drink with my new friends, who boast about its health benefits.
It's more better than ogogoro.
All in all, it is a sober Christmas in Kodape village, and the people here have hopes for a better future despite the hardships they're facing. They're asking for help from the government. Any help at all to help their deteriorating standard of living. Kayla Magwa, Channels Television News.
Well, it seems a contrast from what we saw yesterday at Eco Hotel and Suites, as a Christmas celebration wore a different face right there. Their carnival from the compound in Victoria Island. We saw a lot of fun, people from all over the world. They meet, dress in their cultural attire, costumes, and they had a lot of fun, a way to celebrate the Christmas. Well, of course, the people in Kodape would obviously want a little bit of this. But doesn't mean that even here in Lagos or in Eco hotels that things are all smooth. But let's find out now, as we have joining us the General Manager of Eco Hotels and Suites, Mr. Kuporo Drew. Danny joins us now from Victoria Island. Good to have you, and Merry Christmas to you.
Good morning and Merry Christmas to you, and Merry Christmas to all our viewers.
Great. So I see you guys had a lot of fun. I know I did watch that report before coming on air. You have people who have come from all over the world to celebrate Christmas in Nigeria, and you gave them an opportunity to just enjoy themselves and enjoy the Nigerian culture.
Indeed. We had a lot of fun. It took a lot of months of preparation. And what we try to do is actually we try to portray Lagos and Nigeria to the world. So we're taking Lagos and Nigeria to the world. We make Christmas our own. So we had an African Christmas yesterday. So the carnival was there. We had a lot of things that happened, a massive Christmas cake that was prepared, a lot of programs, a lot of activity, and a lot of fun and a lot of joy to be had.
Yeah, but does it mean that we just saw that report in Nasarawa State where they even had to cancel their dance, unfortunately, because of high cost of living. You guys are not feeling that?
We are indeed. And to be honest with you, the economic crisis has been also a blessing in disguise somehow, because where people in the past used to take a plane, travel, go abroad, spend their money, the hard-earned money abroad. Now we created for them content, and we created for them a very nice ambience and atmosphere and program to spend time in Nigeria and spend their money in Lagos and spend their money in the economy here. So that will also stimulate somehow the economy, and we are proud to be doing that, to be honest with you.
So, that's very interesting. I know we always hear necessity is the mother of invention, but sometimes we do not know when we really apply it. But it's in what you've said. Tickets traveling outside the country now, they've hit the roof and gone above the roof. So would you say that in your business, you've seen more bookings, more demand, because people who would have traveled out have decided to come spend time away from home in hotels? Would you say that's the situation?
Yes, absolutely. Just to put it into perspective, one economy ticket to travel to Europe or to travel to Asia or to travel to America is all it takes for a family of 6 to come and stay in Eco Hotel and spend Christmas there, have unlimited food, unlimited drinks, have fun, have entertainment. And if you think about it, it is a massive proposal for somebody to decline and say, no, I want to buy tickets for my family and travel abroad. It doesn't make any sense anymore. And that's only tickets.
So how do you say we can explore this opportunity so it's not just a co-hotel or it's not just hotels, where we can make Nigerians spend more of their money back home at times like this, at the festivities, and that will also reduce the demand for FX, which is devaluing the Naira?
Absolutely, absolutely. You're absolutely right there. And that's what we're trying to do. And we are looking forward also to have the government as well, local government, the Lagos state government, and even federal government, to create more activity around Christmas and stimulate this demand and stimulate this interest. And that will not only attract the local, the Nigerian tourists, let me put it like that, but also it will start attracting foreigners coming to spend their hard-earned currency in Nigeria. We had people that told us yesterday after they saw the carnival that they are from London and they want to come next year to spend Christmas in Nigeria. They are not Nigerians. They don't have anything to tie them to Nigeria, but they just show what we did at Echo Hotel. So imagine if this was the case across the country. I think it would help a lot, and it will stimulate the economy, and it will stimulate a lot of revenues coming to the country.
But you know, there's some other discouraging factors, the issue of security, infrastructure. You know, these have also been a kind of militating the spread of this opportunity, or the impact of this opportunity, that a lot of, you know, business owners would have jumped on.
To be honest with you, having been to Nigeria for over 20 years, I used to use that as an excuse. That, oh, we need to, when the security will become very good, when the infrastructure will be perfect, then the people will come. It doesn't work like that. I don't think so. It's up to us to create infrastructure. It's up to us to create structures, content, and people will come. And if the security is not perfect, fine. The security is not perfect anywhere. You know, the infrastructure is not perfect anywhere. But if we create something that people are interested to come and see, and we have, our culture is extremely rich, our traditions are extremely rich. If we encourage that, people will come, and you will see that it will not be in the long distance. It is already happening.
All right. Well, you have a good message right there, and we do hope to spread that message to other players in different sectors of the economy. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, and we say congratulations on your carnival. I know it's still on, Mr. Danny Kuporo-Drew, the General Manager of Eco Hotels and Suites, and have a great Boxing Day.
Thank you very much. I wish you the same.
All right, now let's take a break. Maybe I would have some gifts to unwrap. When we come back, we'll face one of our realities, our budget. We know that the lawmakers had promised that latest by the 30th, which is just in a couple of days, the budget will be ready. So we'll start 2024 with the 2024 budget. Our appropriation bill is what it is at this time. We'll discuss the possibility of that and how this could affect you in the year 2024. That's just in a moment here in Business Morning. Just stay with us. Welcome back to watching Business Morning on this Boxing Day. Now let's talk about the appropriation bill. Well, for 2024, it's titled Budget of Renewed Hope. We know that President Bola Tinubu is very strong on renewed hope. He campaigned on that tag, and this budget has a proposed expenditure of 27.5 trillion naira, an estimated revenue of 18.32 trillion naira. That's for the fiscal year. We have the details, such as oil prices, about $78. We have production proposed at 1.78 million barrels a day. We have our naira at 750, and then targets inflation at 21.4. Meanwhile, of course, now we have inflation at above 28%. But let's try to find out more with the Director General of the Budget Office of the Federation of Nigeria, the DG there, Mr. Ben Akaboizi, joins us virtually. Good morning, sir, and happy Boxing Day, compliments of the season.
Thank you, Ini, and happy Boxing Day as well. Just keep it to opening the boxes and make sure you don't box anybody.
I will. I'm trying to preach that message also. Well, even at this time, in the midst of the celebration, I guess we still have to face our reality. I don't know if you saw our report earlier from Nasarawa State about some of the harsh economic realities that individuals are facing in the country. But let's talk about the budget just before we end the year. We know that we're waiting on the lawmakers and then the assent of the president before we can activate the 2024 budget. But looking at the 2023 budget, what level or degree of implementation or percentage of implementation would you put it, the 2023 budget?
Well, as you know, the 2023 budget implementation remains ongoing until the 31st of December. And by the way, the National Assembly has also already passed its own resolutions to extend implementation to 31st March 2024. On the implementation of the 2023 budget, revenues are on course, on track. Recurrent expenditures have been on track essentially. So it's the capital expenditure side that had been lagging in terms of the processes of agencies actually implementing and meeting the requirements for payment to be effected. The thing is, capital budget implementation is usually measured based on how much has been paid. In reality, the implementation of the capital budget is often significantly more than what is actually reported, because what happens is contractors that are on site working, generating certificates, and those certificates are then submitted periodically for a payment, and it's only when they're paid that performance is is recorded, but that payment often lags behind performance. So what then the recorded performance depends on how much of the capital expenditure gets settled before the end of this year, and that's an ongoing process.
So sometimes when we have these conversations, I mean, a couple of average Nigerians who ask, I mean, these things just come out as numbers to me. Does the budget even have an impact on my life as an average Nigerian? Why should I concern myself with all of these numbers and all this kind of conversation?
Well, if you're truly an average Nigerian, you will feel the impact of the budget, because the average Nigerian goes to public hospitals. Those public hospitals won't function without the budget. I mean, and oftentimes, yes, they may not be as well equipped as we want them to be yet, but even the payment of the salaries of the medical personnel, just keeping those hospitals going, is drawing on the budget. The average Nigerian sends his children to public schools. Those public schools won't be open without the budget. The average Nigerian sends his children to public universities. Nigeria's public universities are among the cheapest anywhere in the world in terms of the cost of obtaining tertiary education. That's all funded from the budget. The average Nigerian is able to go about his business or whatever endeavors in life because there is some measure of security. It may not be, perfect. And I was listening to Danny, the general manager of Eco Hotels earlier on, when he said, look, there's nowhere no country has perfect security. But the soldiers, the policemen, the civil defense personnel, the federal safety corps people that keep watch over the highways on which we fly, the intelligence agencies, all of them are paid from this budget. So oftentimes when people say that the budget doesn't impact them, it's I think the correct statement will be that people desire more, not that it doesn't impact them.
All right, so now let's look at some of those details of the proposed budget, the appropriation bill. For instance, a benchmark for oil at $78, oil production at 1.78, because all of this is what is going to help us get that expected revenue of about 7.94 from the oil. And we see what's happening with oil now, even though we have that tension on the Red Sea. But it's so close. I'm talking of the price and our benchmark. And when it comes to the production, we've not even been able to do 1.5, and yet we are pushing for 1.7. You know, so sometimes these affect, of course, the revenue and affect the effectiveness of the budget. Or can we still make a change?
Well, you know, first of all, projecting oil price is at best an art, not a science. Even though we tend to apply all kinds of scientific approaches to estimating, but many economists have had their careers damaged by taking a bet on oil prices. There are just too many things that impact oil prices. But we normally, pitch our oil price projection at the lower end of the averages of projections by knowledgeable entities across, the world. And there are people who are in this business. But of course, there's so much that can affect oil price in either direction. In 2020, nobody knew COVID-19 will hit and create a lockdown of the global economy and drag down oil prices. You could not have modeled that, when you did the projections. But all I'd like to say is, apart from 2020, when COVID-19, messed things up, for all of my time that I've been in the budget office, in the last nearly 8 years, the actual oil price every year has always exceeded our budget projections. And there's no reason to think that 2024 will be different.
Very interesting there, even though it's really close at this time, but we'll have faith with you. Another thing is the exchange rate. So we have it at 750 in the budget, but we know that even as we speak now, in reality, which is the parallel market, is over 1,000. What impact can that have to the implementation of the budget? And what adjustments can be done, to buffer some of those gaps?
Well, first of all, the budget is not based on the parallel market. And as the central bank has explained previously, the parallel market is a very noisy market, but it's not as large. It's not compared to what you might call the official market, basically, in this case, the Nigerian foreign exchange market, which is currently the market. So we don't base the budget on the parallel market. However, the stark reality is that the parallel market does impact, prices in the market. So the cost of the procurement that government makes is impacted by it. So on the expenditure side, the parallel market does weigh on the the budget, but not in terms of our revenue projections. 750 naira to the dollar is currently projected as, that's the average exchange rate for next year. What that says essentially is that, yes, you may begin the year at a level higher than that. But if all of the things that the central bank has put in place in terms of and not just even the monetary policy authorities, even the fiscal authorities, the trade policy, initiatives, if all of these come together, we should expect to see significant increases in supply of foreign exchange to the economy in 2024. Let's get this, right. It's as simple as that. The exchange rate is a function of the supply and demand of the dollar to this, economy. If the supply increases, the naira will strengthen. And so our focus and the discussion really, rather than be fixated on the number of the exchange rate, the discussion should really be about what are we doing, what can we do more to stimulate the flow of foreign exchange, into the economy. And is 750 a desirable rate? for 2024. People need to understand that the budget is a tool. The budget is a policy tool, and the most important from the standpoint of economic management, of public finance management, is the most important tool that the government has, uses and deploys, and therefore it must be tailored on government's economic policy objectives. So when you see an exchange rate of 750 naira to the dollar for 2024, which is lower than where we are today, it signals to you what the policy direction is of government, and that what government is working to is to see a strengthening of the naira. We could easily reduce the deficit in the budget and make our revenues look a lot better than they are by simply using a higher exchange rate. So when we choose this, it is because it is intended to reflect the direction of travel of government policy. If we wanted to just look better, we make our revenues look better, we'll just use a higher exchange rate and we'll report a lower deficit.
All right, talking about deficit, what's the plan? We have a deficit of about 9.18 trillion. How much of that do we expect to source from domestic markets, and how much can we look out for?
Well, in terms of the subsidy, a little part of it is projected to come from privatization proceeds, just under 300 billion naira. So the privatization proceeds may come from domestic or foreign investors in the excuse me, in the enterprises that are going to be privatized. On the other side, which is debt, new borrowings, that's the big part of it. 1.7 trillion naira of that is projected to come from drawdowns on already negotiated multilateral and bilateral, debt, and that's essentially foreign. And then of the balance of just under 8 trillion naira, some of that is projected to come from foreign and some from domestic sources. But the Debt Management Office keeps track of this and keeps watch over the market, and depending on the circumstances of the market, if the circumstances look right to tap the international capital market, they will do so. Otherwise, the bulk of that will come from the domestic capital market.
All right, so before we let you go, I know you do have your day filled. So when I was going through the budget officer, you said that you have the vision to use technology to mobilize and distribute the nation's resources to engender sustainable socio-economic development. I'm interested in the technology. Everyone's talking about AI now and technology. How much of technology has your office adopted? You've been there for I think 2 administrations now. So tell us what new things have you has technology brought on board that has made your work more effective, more efficient for the nation?
Well, clearly we have deployed, technology significantly. Before I got to the budget office, the budget process used to be very tedious. It used to be a case of agencies submitted their budgets to the budget office in massive Ghana must go bags and whatever, tons of paper. We changed all of that. We automated the process. Agencies sit back in their offices and upload their budgets on the budget preparation system, and we simply review their budgets online and all that. So a lot of our work has been automated. The same with even the parastatals and government-owned enterprises. We developed, and this is a locally developed application by the budget office, which we call BIMS, for short, and that's the medium which they prepare and submit their budgets, because all of these government-owned enterprises and parastatals, they're in disparate, businesses and endeavors and engagements, and they all deploy different, technologies, accounting systems, and all of that, and they just used to send their budgets in all kinds of formats. But we've done this to it and standardize the format in which they too can, submit their budgets to us, virtually for review. But more importantly, again, when we look at that vision, it talks about not just how we, budget office, will deploy technology, but the entire ecosystem for public finance management. And so what you see is that the FIRS, the Federal Revenue Service, which is a key generator of the revenues that we appropriate in the budget, there's an increasing deployment of technology, and in 2024 you're going to see even a lot more of that. You've also, even in the day-to-day operations of government, in terms of now all payments, government payments, are simply automated. Online government doesn't write checks. Government, there are no checks. Every payment is made online, and all of these help with greater accountability, because you have it's easier to establish an audit trail when all of the transactions happen online. So there's increasing deployment of technology, and technology is something that just keeps evolving.
All right, thank you so much, sir, for your time. And of course, we do hope to see even more of that technology and see it bring more transparency and fluidity in the system. Thank you so much, Director General Budget Office, Mr. Ben Akabweze, and do have a great Boxing Day and the rest of the holidays.
Thank you, Ini. A pleasure.
All right, now the markets are still on holiday, but Anyete always finds a way to keep us, interested in the markets. I don't know what he has today. Yesterday was Santa, Finance Santa. Yeah. Today, Anyete, what are you? Yeah. Boxing Day, Santa.
Boxing Day. Boxing Day is a day for unwrapping, the presents that you got on Christmas Day. But of course, for the markets are still closed.
Yeah, no Boxing Day, no Christmas Day.
Virtual, maybe we'll just have it virtual, tokenized.
Okay, so all right.
The markets, we're still doing a review of the markets. The financial markets are closed. They will be resuming for the final 3 days of 2023.
Tomorrow.
Exactly. Yesterday we focused on the equities market, but this time let's make a little bit of switch to another side of the market. Now, the NSD OTC market, which is a developmental exchange, it recorded about a 2.94% increase at the close of Friday's trading session. And year to date, that market has made up to about 31% year to date performance. Now, take a look at your board there, 2.94% on the NSD OTC's index, the NSI there. And of course, investors in that market gained about 40 billion naira in the prior week, the week before Christmas. Remember, we were talking about the week before Christmas, where all the markets were mostly in the green. Take a look at the markets gained there, 3.28%. On the other side of the market, the volume was down by 91.06%. in contrast to what it had in the previous week. On your board there, you can see the value was also down by more than 82%. And then for the number of deals, we had 1.91%. I talked about the gain. The gains that investors had there was attributed to 12 stocks, including the likes of Food Concepts, Aradel Holdco, and UBM Property. Because this market, it may not be too well known, but this market is almost similar to Nigeria's stock market. And speaking of the NESD, they're going to be focused in 2024 on SMEs, mortgage and housing, mass transportation, as well as education. So this is where they'll be moving a little bit, not just moving away, but expanding the market frontier to incorporate all of this and then have more investors in that market. Now we move over to the fixed income market, although we don't have the figures here, but we have it that the fixed income market, we had a subdued demand offer for the bonds market, and then the average yield there, it's remained bullish, dropping by 14 basis points week on week to about 14.62%. And then for the automobiles, we also had 2 OMO auctions last week. But to give us more details about that, let's talk to Caleb Alimi, who's a chief dealer at Providence Bank. Thank you for joining us, Caleb.
Good morning, Anita. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, I would say.
Merry Christmas, thank you.
Now, can you just run us through a little bit about last week's proceedings at the fixed income market? Yeah, we had 2 OMO auctions last week, one on Wednesday, one on Friday. So give us details about this and what to expect in the opening on Wednesday.
Okay, thanks. Aside the OMO auction, I'll just probably give a bit of color on, what has happened in the NTB market as well throughout the year, just a bit of on a big picture kind of frame. Yes, there were 2 OMO auctions last week, one on Wednesday and one on Friday. However, the one on Wednesday was sold, and it's closed at 15%, but the one on Friday, there was no sale, despite the fact that, market had sort of trimmed down their quotes. The one on Wednesday, the bids were between 14.9 to 17.5. The one on Friday, the bids were between 13.83 to 16.5. So you could see like 100 basis point contraction at the highest, band of the bids. However, there was no sale for that one throughout the year. All of it which have happened in the Cardoso era, there've been about 5 OMO auctions in total, in excess, and they offered a total of 1.2 trillion, but they sold only 720 billion of all of that offer, given the no sale that happened last week. In the NTB space, throughout the year, so far, there's been about 4.5 trillion, on offer, and they've sold a total of 6.3 trillion at a maximum rate of 16.75, which happened sometime around October, and at a minimum rate of 2.24% on the 1-year paper, which happened sometime around February. We've seen that this year, I think, is one of the highest we've seen, where the DMO has oversold its OMO auction. This year they sold an excess of 1.8 trillion. Which means they raised additional 1.8 trillion in the short end of the curve, which is the 0 to 1 year axis. Or there's an NTB auction tomorrow as we resume, from the holidays. You guys are always working, but we took a break, and there's just the volume on offer is just about 67 billion in total. Most of the focus is usually on the 1-year paper. That one has about 48 billion on offer. The last NTB auction closed at 13.5, but this NTB auction, we expect it to slightly hover around there or even contract. Reason being, that the last OMO auction printed slightly higher. There's been, CRR debits, incessant CRR debits, more frequent, if I may add. There's been, there's a bit of liquidity in the market as well. Banks are closing their books for the year. It's a last opportunity for them to invest. So we think it could actually contract. It's more likely to contract from that 13.5% to say what a 13% or 12.8 level. But hey, let's see what the issuer has to offer come tomorrow.
Okay, so Caleb, just one more question in just 60 seconds. The year, we have just about 5 days to the end of the year, and then 3 days into 3 last trading days for 2023. So far, in a nutshell, how has financial markets investors profited this year?
In the fixed income space, interestingly, you always profit, given that you earn something on whatever you invest at every point in time. Yes, the investors have actually profited. I think the biggest profit margins or the biggest advantage came around October, when I said, discounts on the 1-year paper closed at around 16.75, which was about a 22% yield, actual return. The last few trading days, the major highlight is tomorrow's auction, which we settle on the 28th. Aside that, I think it's just going to be banks and other investors just, closing their books and wrapping up for the year. The year has been quite profitable, especially in the last quarter of the year for most investors.
Okay, so tell us more about the money markets. I see on my paper here the system liquidity, it improved last week. Interbank rate moderated, and the open market, the open repo rate and the overnight lending rate, they declined by 243 basis points and 250 basis points. So now what is the expectation for the interbank, for the money markets?
I would expect the rates to actually remain low, like I said, given the CR debits that a lot of banks have witnessed, and we expect it to continue. And the fact that towards year end, really, there's always liquidity in the system. I think the last working day market liquidity was around 600 billion. We expect it to still hover around the 400 billion or 350 billion or thereabouts. So market will still be liquid. Interbank rates are still going to be very low. They'll hover around 11-12% as the year comes to a close.
Okay, so thank you so much, Caleb, for that analysis. And of course, like I'd always say, our eyes are always on the market. That was Caleb Alimi, Chief Dealer at Providence Bank, giving us details about the fixed income market. So, Ini, that's it. Well, holidays are almost over.
When Caleb reminded you that, I mean, you guys are still working, but we have been on holiday.
And the holiday is almost over.
So well, it's almost over.
Exactly,
then you have another one next week, I think, on Monday or so.
And we'll still be here.
Yeah,
well, they'll still be on holiday.
I love my job.
Well, I also love my job, but also love to report this market.
Okay, all right, Nietzsche, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Okay, so from that market, then we'll go to the market that never sleeps. That's why Ladi will always proudly tell you that they have new figures every hour.
Yeah, since love is in the air right now. Everybody's loving their job right now.
I love my job. I know you love crypto, but I love my job.
Exactly. Even though you want to be sleeping somewhere right now, but that's fine. You love your job.
Is that why you have the Christmas color on the board?
It's yeah, we're picking the red this time.
Yeah. But yesterday, it's a good combo. It's Christmas, you know.
It was,
well
it was
represented.
a mixture yesterday. A couple of red pockets, then we had green. So it's representing Christmas at this point.
Great.
No dominant color here. So we see Bitcoin there losing some ground, $42,885, down by 1.31% this morning. Ethereum is also down. But we're seeing Solana still shining, XRP shining, Matic, and a couple of other coins there we track on the top 100 on CoinMarketCap. Let's look at the sentiment this morning. We see it's still greed. It's still a greedy market since early last month into October. We've been in greed for that long. 71 points. Looking at the Fear Greed Index. Now let's look at some stocks that did well. Let's call them the Santa Rally cryptos at this point. 7 days to Christmas, and they did really well. Near Protocol, $4.26. That has given 78% gains in 7 days into Christmas there. Oasis Protocol, that's 13 cents. That's given 55% in 7 days. Then we have Solana there. Solana has done incredibly well. Even though Solana had that issue when the FTX exchange, went down, we've seen Solana bounce back bigger. It was trading at less than $20 earlier this year, but $114, up 50.35%. Even though some have called it a somewhat bearish market, but it has been quite bullish for some of these stocks. Let's bring in Solomon Amunde now, financial market analyst. Great to have you, Solomon. Good morning.
Good morning, Ladi. Good morning.
Yeah, so looking at the Santa cryptos at this point, we see that Solana has done incredibly well in 7 days. Even from year to date, is up over about 200% or thereabout. And we've seen Solana flip some coins on the top 100 coins that we track on CoinMarketCap. What is going on with Solana? Why is it so bullish this time?
So basically, for Solana, the team has been building ever since November last year when the token crashed below $10. The team they have been aggressively building, and I strongly believe they've been planning for this moment. And one of the major reasons why we see Solana making all the noise and all the hypes and gathering all of the total value in the crypto ecosystem and lots of transactions and NFT transactions too, it's majorly because of the meme coin season, which has been going on in Solana for the past about 2 months now. We have lots of traders migrating to the Solana blockchain to be able to make some money. They are trading most of these meme coins, and it's massively too because of the low gas fees. And let's not also forget that Solana has given people the most free amount of money within the last 60 days based on airdrops. I mean, so many persons have made as much as $20,000 within the last 30 days to about 60 days just from airdrop. And we know airdrop is more like free money for some incentivized stuffs that you did on a particular blockchain or on a particular application or DApp. So we've seen the bulk of that happen on Solana, and we are still expecting about 2 to 3 more airdrops first quarter of 2024 still on Solana. So that's why we've been seeing all of the hype on the Solana ecosystem recently.
Yeah, quite a lot of hype there. We've seen Solana actually flip BNB, and now there's chatter that Solana could flip Ethereum, going forward. How possible is that?
It will be extremely difficult because of, if you look at the disparity in the two market cap of the two projects, the gap is huge. For Solana to be able to do that, Solana would have to do about 5-6x from where it is right now, and also Ethereum would have to not make any move. So I doubt that happening. I doubt that. For now, we also see that Solana is above BNB, which is also based on the issues about Binance CZ, which has negatively impacted BNB too in this mini bull market that we've had so far. So I would say everything is working well for Solana now, but I doubt it will be able to flip Ethereum anytime soon.
Talking about everything working for Solana, at this time, how sustainable is this run? When do you think investors are going to say, okay, it's time to take some profit, even though it's been rallying all through Christmas?
I think currently now Solana is overstretched. It has had an amazing run from below $20 to as much as $120 within a space of 60 days. So I feel right now the chart is extremely overstretched. So we should start seeing investors pulling out some funds. I mean, most investors are about 10x up on Solana. And also, one of the things sustaining this hype so far is the meme coins rally and also the airdrops. So I strongly believe that from second quarter of next year, we should start seeing lots of the activities around Solana reducing. But would they be able to maintain this traction? That is something we'll have to wait for. But personally, I feel they might be able to maintain maximum 50% of the traction that they've generated so far. I see them losing at least 40 to 50% of the traction because, like I said, most persons are there for airdrops and to trade meme coins.
And looking at, most of these blockchains now, you did say Solana's blockchain, the fees are quite cheap, it's fast. But when there's a lot of activity, on most of these blockchains, then you have the congestion issues. Then you see the price, the fees, transaction fees actually start to go up. Is that going to happen, or has it happened on Solana's blockchain with all the meme coin saga we've seen in the market?
No, recently we haven't experienced that. Despite the surge in transaction and the surge in user activities and also active wallets and also NFT flipping, we haven't seen any issues with the blockchain yet. It's still holding on very, very well. And we haven't seen any spike in the fees too. The fees have they are still moderately low, and everything is still working very, very well. So I would say kudos to the Solana devs, the team. They are doing very, very well. I would say they have learned from the issues in the past, but we are yet to see if we wouldn't have such issues again in the future. But so far, within the last 60 days, we haven't experienced anything like that.
Talking about issues around FTX, going into 2024, there's still a lot of court cases in the crypto industry that everyone's looking forward to, from XRP to most of the US SEC, talking about some coins being securities. They're still going to mount pressure going into 2024. So looking at the issue with FTX, do you see some risk ahead for projects like Solana that were linked to FTX?
Yeah, I feel we haven't totally moved past that. I believe we haven't, because I know that Alameda, based on their wallets that they tracked, they're still holding good amount of Solana tokens. So we don't know, they can dump anytime or they might choose not to dump. There's still that uncertainty around Solana. But I strongly believe that whatever happens, I strongly believe that Solana will still lose, at least in terms of correction, at least 40% of its value. We'll still see Solana next year around $60 and 50-something dollars. We'll still see that. So for investors and people trying to bring in fresh capital into the market, I would say now it's not the best time. And Solana at its price right now, it's not the best peak for people to start investing in short term.
Yeah, it's quite incredible how, most investors that have been on the sideline for a long time normally choose the top of a bull market to come in. So looking at this market generally, where are you seeing the top at this point?
We're expecting Bitcoin ETF on the 10th/11th. Let's say January, we're expecting it. That is next year. I strongly believe that once we get that ETF, which I'm not 100% certain we'll get it yet, but let's assume we get it, that would mark the top of the market. So I'm expecting to start seeing considerable corrections in the market from the ending of the first quarter to beginning of the second quarter of 2024. That's when I'm expecting to start seeing aggressive corrections in the market.
Right. All right. We'll definitely be tracking this market and see when the corrections come in. Thank you so much, Solomon Amunde, financial market analyst. Thank you.
Thank you, Laddie.
Right. All right, so let's take a look at the top gainers this morning. Now, let's see who's top in the chart, because it's still a really greedy market. Yesterday, we got double-digit gains. Today, still double-digit gains. Sats, one of the from the ordinals there, 38.43%, less than a penny. Ordinals, that's the original one, that's $76.30, up 36%. So it's big gains. Near Protocol, also on the top gainers counter, 15.17% gain. Let's look at the top losers now. We see Rune, that's top of the counter. Not double-digit losses, single-digit, but still quite high. 8% down, $5.69. Optimism, that's had a run recently, $3.35, 5.49% down. This was trading earlier last month about $2.30, so it's had quite a run there. IMX, Immutable X, $2.38, 5.05%. So that's how the market is looking. It's still a very greedy market at this point in it, but definitely it's quite scary, for if you're not invested in a bullish market, then you want to try and get in. FOMO, fear of missing out. So a lot to decide.
Yeah, very interesting conversation
Yeah.
I think you had there with Solomon, especially with the move of Solana.
Yes,
and
quite incredible.
at the beginning of the year, I don't think a lot of people actually saw it coming.
Yeah.
So even as we speak, there are some coins that hold a lot of potentials in 2024.
Exactly, the laggards.
And nobody knows at
Right.
this time, or a lot of people do not know. So,
Yeah.
you have to really sniff and smell really close to the ground for you to
so
be able
hard
to bring
finding
that.
the winners
Exactly.
in any market.
All right, Laddie, thank you so much.
Thank
See
you.
you at 1:30.
Thank you.
So that's it on the program for today, this Boxing Day. And yes, it's a day to unwrap all those gifts. Hopefully the, harsh economic realities did not stop those gifts from coming. So you can go about your business today, unwrapping the gift and sharing it. It's very important to share with those who do not have the privilege to receive gifts like you. I'm Ini John Mekwa. It's been a pleasure spending this hour with you. Hope to do it again tomorrow. I'm Ini John Mekwa. Enjoy yourself. Have a great holiday.